Last year, a new law was implemented that restricted communication between Kentucky teachers and students outside the classroom in an effort to protect children. But a new piece of legislation in Frankfort is looking to clarify some of the confusion surrounding those changes. House Bill 67 passed out of a House Education Committee this morning. Lawmakers say the goal is to still protect students, but not make it more difficult for teachers to do their job. When Senate Bill 181 became law, it prohibited non-traceable communications between school employees and students. It also requires schools to create at least one type of communication that is traceable. House Bill 67 hopes to better clarify who this bill is actually for and includes a broader definition of family members in a student's household, better definitions of who is a coach, and also exempts students who work at the schools over the summer. Kentucky Representative J.T. Payne filed the measure and shared some examples of the new exemptions he's hoping to pass.
Translation services are exempt. Communication with a telephone number that's provided by a parent for the purpose of school communication. So if you call and that was a number that the parent gave and a student picks up, then you're okay there. It goes on to exempt group messaging when you have multiple faculty members in a message communicating, and this would really be helpful for like our academic clubs or maybe our athletic teams, where you can just put everybody and multiple coaches into a group message to communicate practices and things like that.
The bill also addresses social media posts and comments. Representative Payne says he's received a lot of questions there. House Bill 67 would clarify that public social media posts and comments are allowed.